Yeah, morning video. Yeah, I think for the spot, and such. Kind of overcast today, unfortunately. Cat disturbed the cat. Sorry, but I pay the rent, sort of. Anyway, pond's getting a little low. Yeah, really don't know if I want to do the work of fixing this. I mean, it is a nice thing to have, a nice feature, but you do have to, manage the mosquitoes and different things, and who needs the extra work and all that crap. So anyway, alright, lots of subjects rolling through my head. The physics thing, the economy thing, I gotta do a video to the mystic or something. But you almost hate talking about the economy stuff unless you really got something, like you're gonna predict the day of the crash or something. It's all talk about what's important. But there's just some fundamentals that just seem wrong in his thinking. Anyway, the thinking he's thinking is good thinking, however to put that. Anyway, the people he thinks have it right or something. Anyway, yeah. So I think I'll do a response video to the people on the 2-slit thing on the Draft Science channel. So maybe I'll do that later. It's just, yeah, I mean, if there was something challenging or good news, then it'd be worth it, but it just seems, all of it seems quite unworth it. So anyway, just the latest video I saw was Piro and, doing his whatever, I'm going to quit drinking thing, which is, okay, it's a nice statement, but you got to follow through and all that kind of crap with that stuff, because, people, yeah, it's just not one of those things that people do a lot of talking like they're going to fix something and they don't fix it. But anyway, but it's just kind of disappointing that it's got this air of spirituality layered on top of it again, so it's almost like the AA thing or something, like somehow I need God's help, but whatever. I've already made my point on how contemptuous I am towards this whole idea of talking psychology as if it's philosophy. So anyway, that brings up Hafla Day, which is a whole nother kind of psychotic kind of psychology. So this is a guy, surprisingly, I was sort of surprised to learn that he has this suicidal bent. He has a real lamenty kind of melancholy. And, he's talked about how he's just kind of used up, I guess. And yet he's pro-life. I mean, he's pro-procreation. And yet he's for the right to commit suicide. And you're just almost like, well, why should you have a right to exit something you're forcing people to participate in? I mean, that's what procreation is. Procreation is a forced march. It's forcing people to exist. And, I mean, if you're going to create the problem, you really don't have a right to a solution. An easy out, so to speak. Because some people would find that the 18 years you'd have to wait for that autonomy might be the worst of the time. Or if your son got cancer, would you want him to suffer for years and years because the government says so? His life is worth living, they'll tell you, even though he's terminally and intractably suffering. You just say it's okay, government knows best. And again, if that's what you're going to sentence people to arbitrarily for something you're going to mock, this idea of suffering and this idea of imposition, which you won't even acknowledge exists, as if procreation is something that isn't chosen or isn't helpable or stoppable or preventable easily. Man, I mean, really, how could I possibly have any empathy for your rights when you don't claim I have any? Frankly, I find that disgusting. So yeah, fuck you. Yeah, you can't get it as bad as you deserve. You've been given lots of scenarios, to metaphors to try to deal with, and you don't want to deal with any of them in a rational way. You just want to mock everything. You mock cancer, you mock suffering, you mock addiction, you mock the bigotries that drive people, you mock the distinction between real value and projections of value. So you would build a nuclear power plant to finance a bubble machine, and with the risk that you will irradiate whoever is the loser who has it in their backyard. You think that the price being paid is it's satisfactory. 6 million Jews dying in the Holocaust was the right number. It wasn't too many, it wasn't too few, just the right number of horror, right? The dance steps we learned in the period of time of the Holocaust were worth the Holocaust, right? I mean, what have we accomplished? What have we done? What have human beings done collectively, or even as individuals, that could justify millions of people slowly being tortured, just die by consumption? And you think there's something that's been done. Oh, things are improving. And again, I made those arguments. You just ignore them. The amount of time human beings are spending in nursing homes in debilitated states, in disease states that they're managing, is increasing, not decreasing. You yourself can't find a life for your fucking self, you stupid idiot. You're sitting here bemoaning the fact that you can't find enthusiasm or motivation to maintain your existence, and yet you're claiming things are getting better. For who? For what? For imbeciles. Oh, so there, it's okay. Imbeciles can have babies because imbeciles somehow won't give birth to people like you. I mean, it's just so illogical and stupid and small-minded. Just really a grotesque video. So yeah, there's nothing, I mean, what do I have? I guess I'd have to just make one single point at a time and just say, this is the question and you have to answer it. Do I really have to do that? Do I have to break every argument into a little individual argument? Especially in a case where the case is a mounting amount of circumstantial evidence. It's not just that O.J.'s wife's head fell off coincidentally the same night he had a vicious cut on his finger. Yeah, just a coincidence. That there was a bloody glove and drips everywhere, and it just happens to be a coincidence. The second coincidence, it's a size 14, which is a tiny percentage of the population. Shoes leaving the scene of the crime. It's just a coincidence. And that they're Bruno Mali, something Joe Street Thug isn't usually wearing. Anyway, you add all the coincidences up, and you add up all these little arguments about what life is, the nature of the beast, and but you won't allow that because you're just going to use crude paraphrases and distortions of the arguments being made, and not paying any attention to their depth. Addiction's a real phenomenon. The fact of perception of value versus real value. This is a real phenomenon. Climbing Mount Everest is a perceived value. It's not a real value. The only value is in the fact that it makes some people happy. It's like playing a particular sport. The sport in and of itself has no value. It's the value gleaned from the people watching and playing. You don't understand that concept? That the real value of pulling somebody out of a burning car is a real value? To prevent their suffering is a real value versus these projections of value that are only necessary because of subjective individual dependencies and needs. So anyway, it's just rather dismal. Again, what well, there's no point in making the arguments over and over again. I have to come up with some other metaphors, I suppose, but I think these metaphors have been pretty good. The Frankenstein metaphor, so you would justify rolling the Frankensteins, the flawed, tortured and tormented, even if they're a minority. They should pay the price. It's okay to non-consensually torture people. They didn't agree to terms, they didn't sign a contract, but you can torture them, absolutely torture them, to justify something the human race is doing. That there's some accomplishment for this little blob of crap on Earth. And you won't explain to me, you said rainbows, some subjective glorification of some need or dependency that exists inside of them. Some addiction to be satisfied. Again, I can see value in nicotine, but I can also understand that nicotine has no intrinsic value. It only has value because I'm addicted to it. And I certainly wouldn't impose the addiction on somebody else just so they can enjoy nicotine. This is, again, I pointed out in my last few videos that there's a lot at stake here. I mean, zillions of hours of conscious torment are at stake. They will be experienced if this pro-life mentality prevails. This is not a minor... this isn't something to be trivial about. And you just plain suck for treating it trivially. Especially, I guess, from this point of view of mocking the defensive position. It's the aggressors who should have the open and shut case. If you're going to, it's this whole idea. If you're going to impose the death penalty, then you want to have real evidence. If you're going to be aggressive, you're going to do something that's going to involve torturing somebody, you damn well should have a damn good argument, a non-mockable argument. And the fact that you sit there and can find some room to mock the sensitivities and sensibilities of people who are in the defensive position, it just proves what a profound idiot you are. I mean, that you can't even figure out that the aggressive position should be unassailable, that it should be so airtight that you could just present it without having to resort to this negative character assassination kind of shit. It's like a political campaign. If I got some good idea, if I got some real deal, I should be able to just go sell my real deal. I shouldn't even have to worry about pointing out the financial irregularities of my opponent or some other defect or some other thing. I shouldn't have to mock his rhetoric or mock his tactics at all. I should be able to just present my win and say, look how this wins. And you don't have that. You got rainbows, buddy. You got moments of orgasmic gratification of addictive syndrome. That's what you got. And on the other side, you got non-consensual torture. And and you're going to sit there and tell me that you got an airtight case, and that you are in a position where you have a right, or it is reasonable and sensible for you to mock people's sensitivity. Again, you can't be ridiculed by the trolls any harder on your wimpy little whiny complaints about your dissatisfactory life and how you should have a right to die. Fuck you. You should be forced out to march. You should be whipped to march. If you're going to impose it on somebody else, if you're going to sit there and vote to give people the right to impose, then God damn it, you really don't have a right to say you shouldn't be imposed upon. I mean, how dare you claim a right not to be imposed on when you're advocating for other people's rights to impose? Fuck you. Amazing. Amazing duplicity and hypocrisy. So anyway, just it's this. The people just keep making these arguments like somehow I'm the asshole, the monkey in this fucking adventure. And you can see it. You know, my last 3 or 4 videos, disciplined, careful, measured videos, and you respond with absolute monkey shit. You know, and it's just like, yeah, right. Yeah, I'm the jerk. Yeah, fuck you people. It's like that Do in the Morning. I mean, every video she has made has been the same kind of, you know, play this ridicule, mocking game rather than actually make an argument, affirming something, demonstrating how she has the real deal. Because her real deal is basically, I'm a selfish cunt, and I think nature gives me a right to be a selfish cunt because nature made Tyrannosauruses and gave them the right to rule the world for 300 million years. So therefore, I should have the right to rule the world for 300 million years, and I can't do anything wrong because Tyrannosaurus already did it, and it was legal then, so, you know, I don't have to do any better than a Tyrannosaurus, and I've successfully accomplished what it is to be alive. Yeah. Right, that's intelligent. So anyway, as the tone of this video may indicate, yeah, if it was a little sunnier, this might be a little easier day. It's just, you know, but I mean, I'm not, it's, you know, yeah, I'm just, it's just, I'm melancholy over, you know, just how difficult it's going to be to have this conversation because there's really so few reasonable people. They all act defensively and emotionally, and they can make no distinctions, I guess is the argument I would make, you know, between, well, and again, too, I guess I would argue that, you know, what are they emotional over? Again, it's the loss of some sign of projected value. I mean, I'm getting emotional over visions of people burning in cars, and they seem to be getting emotional over, oh, somebody's not going to see that rainbow. Like, oh, there was a rainbow, but it was at night. Nobody saw it. You know, so, you know, because technically that's, you know, the rainbow could have existed in the atmosphere, but the sun never made it visible, kind of thing. It's like the molecules could have been in the right place for there to be a rainbow, but there was no sun. And so they have a horrible disappointment that no one got to experience the rainbow. Or maybe there was something important on TV, like there was a rainbow at the same time the Preakness was running. So everybody was watching the little horsies run around the circle, and they didn't see the rainbow. Oh. It was a triple rainbow. Yeah, triple rainbow. And yeah, you see people getting all emotional because somebody might take that away from the universe. The universe won't be contemplating rainbows anymore. And you're getting emotional, like somebody's attacking something real. It's like attacking disco. Yeah, oh yeah, we're gonna kill disco. Erase it from human history. Oh, what a tragedy. Oh. So anyway, yeah, that's enough. Lots to do, and I'm, you know, sitting, taking a deep breath and wondering, oh, God, it's insufferable. It's insufferable. It's very nice in here. It's like a little cave with this little apple tree here, and this, that, and the other thing. It's very nice, very nice, very nice. So anyway, so the next time, helicopter, I guess, over there somewhere, and such.